by 3 goals, an advantage they've held all day. At the centre bounce, and Farnham gets the back knock, and immediately Hubbardscroft puts South Australia in. Barker with his nose over the ball, and umpire Capes. A good job from this fellow from Western Australia will put the ball down again.
On the ground, coming in to meet the ball here. A quick handball from Edwards, goes astray. Picked up here by Martin. That's Sewer, not Edwards. It comes across here to Shearman. He took a almighty whack in the last quarter. He's transferred it to Tilbrook, who has been very quiet on that half.
Yes, good afternoon ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to you from Hub Adelaide in the city for the 5th edition now of Ausport's 2014 SANFL program. Cannot believe we are 5 episodes in already. My name is Tim Jusius and I will be your host for today and for the remainder of this campaign as usual. Another massive week in SANFL footy this one. So much happened as usual. Port Adelaide wins the first ever SANFL showdown. Norwood finally gets back on the winners list, while West Adelaide emphatically records their first victory of the season. We'll have all that mixed in with reviews of all 5 games, previews of all the next week's games, and a look at what that means to the all-important premiership table. Okay, we'll start the program off as usual by turning back the clocks to last Friday night. It was the opening game of the weekend, and this match saw Glenelg host Norwood. The final score in this one, Glenelg 8-5-53, defeated by Norwood 10-10-70. Now this was a very, very important victory for Norwood. It was so important that they won this game after the horror month that they have just endured. It was a tough slog of a contest, but Norwood were clearly the better side and deserved the victory. Norwood got off to a really fast start in this game, and it's something that they actually haven't been able to do previously this season, really. I think this really helped settle the boys down and allow them to play the kind of contested footy that they want to play and really pride themselves on down there at Norwood. I thought Balderstone's game was absolutely tremendous, over 50 hit-outs, I believe, and he just really dominated proceedings in the middle from the get-go. Glenelg did keep coming back at Norwood, but Norwood just had that little bit more skill and composure when the game really mattered. This one is huge for Norwood, and hopefully for the players and supporters of the club, it can help catapult them back into that commanding position I think so many expect of this club. Okay, let's have a quick chat about Glenelg though. They tried hard all night once again and did Glenelg, which would really impress their supporters. Their last few weeks have seen a real improvement since that catastrophe against Port Adelaide, I think we'll all agree. They were absolutely smacked in that first quarter with the Bays, but really put it on themselves to work hard and get back into the contest, which they did absolutely superbly. Glenelg takes on the Eagles next week in another really challenging game. However, if they do bring that same enthusiasm, there is no reason why they can't challenge and possibly defeat the high-flying Eagles.
In the heat of the action, every choice you make has a huge impact.
You've got to make the right decisions. If you want to be a game changer,
you can't afford to take unnecessary risks
or rush into something that you might regret.
Whether you're in heavy traffic
or you've got room to move,
you still have to be in complete control.
Just one decision.
One small thing,
one lapse in concentration,
and your whole world could change.
Alright, let's continue with the following game of the round, which saw North Adelaide take on Sturt. The final score, North 7-6-48, defeated by the incredible Sturt 16-13-109. Now, Sturt were just unbelievable in this game. It's quite incredible to think we were watching a team that just a short time ago were a club with a lot of on-field problems. They were amazing. The first quarter was reasonably tight, and it looked as if we were in for a real thriller of a game. But in that second quarter, Sturt just absolutely blew the game open. 8 goals in a row, I think they kicked at one point to open up a commanding 43-point lead at the break. So many talented players in that Sturt team, one of them being Jack Stevens. We actually went down to Sturt midweek to have a chat regarding the team's current success, this week's upcoming opponents, and even a possible tilt at this year's premiership. Let's have a listen to what Jack had to say. G'day and welcome to the Sturt Football Club. My name's Timmy Jusius here for Oz Sports Online. I'm joined now by Jack Stevens for the Sturt Football Club. Jack, let's start with the game on the weekend. A fantastic result for the club, beating North Adelaide 109-48. What pleased you the most about the performance and the result?
Yeah, well, I mean, Prospect Oval, North Adelaide, it's always a stern test, so it's very pleasing to put 4 quarters of consistent football together, and I think 21 even contributors. We played solid football and tough football all day, and yeah, ended up getting the result, which was very pleasing, and yeah, had a good start to the year, which is excellent.
The second quarter, you obviously kicked, I think, 8 goals in a row or something ridiculous at one point to open up the 43-point lead. What do you think was the real catalyst at that start of the second quarter which really got things going for you guys?
The breeze helped. Yeah, look, I think our pressure was good early in that second quarter, and we sort of broke them open a bit towards the end of it. I strung a few goals together. I mean, particularly the last couple of games we've had kick straight, and we managed to kick, I think, 8-1 or 8 straight even. But yeah, I think we just got on top and got a bit of momentum, and yeah, really set us up for the second half.
You said just before you are 4-1. It's been a great start to the season. At the beginning of the season, not a lot of clubs and people from outside of the SANFL gave you guys much of a chance to make finals this year. Do you feel now that you're doing so well, there's sort of been a change in perception from other clubs and fans, and when you're entering games as well, you can sort of feel that change amongst the other teams and players?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's been a focus of ours, is to earn the respect of our opposition teammates and clubs and also supporters, I guess. But yeah, it's been very pleasing. I think we've had a very stable group this year, and yeah, a good cohesive group of players. We've been quite lucky with injuries so far, so hopefully that continues. But yeah, I mean, it's mainly just been about earning respect, and yeah, as you said, it's been quite a lean couple of years, which yeah, again, very pleasing to have started this way. Hopefully we can continue.
The win on the weekend was obviously super impressive. Would you rate that as the best win this season, or if not, which one do you think has been the best one this year?
Yeah, it was certainly up there. I mean, the Norwood win was pretty enjoyable. Norwood at Norwood's hasn't happened for us for I think since 2010 maybe, or possibly even earlier. But yeah, probably Norwood at Norwood, but yeah, North Adelaide at Prospect. We take them all, mate. Yeah, wherever.
Moving on to this week's game now, you've got Port Adelaide down at Alberton Oval, obviously another huge test. They just keep on coming. What do you think is the most important thing that you guys need to do to come back home with the 2 points?
Yeah, again, I think it's the pressure, mate. It's sort of been our gauge, or our measure of how we sort of start games, and if the pressure's on early, we tend to be in games most of the time. So I think if we can really pressure the ball, and I think blokes were, playing hard footy and really putting their head over it. So I mean, that helps, and obviously Port having a good run. But yeah, we think we can test them.
Who's the one player for Port Adelaide that you think you really need to shut down?
Well, I haven't put too much thought into it, but I think Summerton's been getting a fair bit of it, and Kane Mitchell, blokes like that would sort of try to limit their influence. Yeah, so they're running players, and yeah, I guess they're ball getters. We sort of try and limit them to less than 30 or something like that. Yeah.
What have been your thoughts so far on the new Port Adelaide and Adelaide reserves teams? I suppose it's a new format that's come in this season. Do you feel it's a good thing for the SANFL, or do you feel it's a disadvantage to the rest of the clubs?
Well, from my perspective, it's added to the stability of our side this year, which has been good from a Sturt perspective. Yeah, I mean, it's probably too early to call at this stage. I think, yeah, it's something that will be something we can judge sort of a year down the track and assess it then. But yeah, I think so far so good. Yeah, no complaints.
And just finally, before I let you go, Jack, do you have any limits on the team for the remainder of the season, or are you sort of going with that approach of no limits? We can possibly go as far as we can, and who knows, even a premiership at the end of the day.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Well, yeah, given we've had those lean years, I think just week by week, as you'd know, you'd probably heard that before, but winning each week is actually a pleasure, and if we can string a few together, yeah, maybe finals is on the cards. But yeah, until sort of later in the season, I guess we can start thinking about that. But just got to think about Port Adelaide at this stage, I guess. Yeah.
Well, Jack, thank you very much for having a chat with us today. Good luck with this week's game, and good luck for the remainder of the season.
Thanks, mate.
This has been Tim Juicius reporting here for Oz Sports Online.
It all begins here. It's being in the crowd to say you were there. It's catching up with your mates, whether they're one of us or them. It's the pride of being double blue. Now, more than ever, we need you. Being the team behind the team. 2014 memberships available now.
Okay, the following game of the round saw West Adelaide finally get their first win of the season over the disappointing Central Districts. The final score in this game, West Adelaide 15-8-98, defeated the Centrals for 10-34. Let's start with West Adelaide. Fantastic for the football club, fantastic for the SANFL as well to see Westies record their first win, one they absolutely deserved. They dominated this game from the outset and, to be honest, were never really challenged by Centrals. Probably for the first time this year, Westies played 4 quarters of consistent, ruthless attacking football. It was absolutely brilliant to watch, mouth-watering at times, and I'm sure for all those supporters who have had to sit through a lot of pain this season, this game would have certainly given them a nice boost heading into Monday and the new week. Many individual brilliant players for the club. Steele and Silverlock were outstanding, putting 8 goals between them, while Schmidt continued his brilliant form. He was arguably the best player on the ground in this one. Sets things up very nicely for next weekend's clash with Adelaide. If Westies could win that, they would jump the Crows and really be back on the up. Okay, let's discuss the Centrals quickly. A shocking performance. Another shocking performance from them. They seem to be serving these up regularly this season. They were never in this game. Mentally, it looked as though they had actually given up before it started, which would have been so disappointing for everyone. 6 goals to zilch, I believe, they conceded in the opening quarter. They didn't even give a whimper, and in all honesty, the game was effectively dead and buried then. They need to have a good, hard look at themselves this week, Centrals, and really question what they actually stand for, because if they don't, this terrific football club couldn't continue down this dark road. Something I'm sure no one wants to see. It is a huge game for them this weekend, and let's hope they put up more of an effort and show some real hunger and desire to win the match.
If you can run,
you can run.
If you can kick,
you can kick.
If you can score,
you can score.
Whether a person is gay or straight
shouldn't matter in sport.
Ability, attitude,
and effort is what counts.
If you can play,
you can play.
If you can play,
you can play.
If you can play,
you can play.
Okay, let's move on to the game of the round. Port Adelaide Magpies took on the Adelaide Crows in what was the first ever showdown in the SANFL. The final score, Adelaide 13-9-87, defeated by Port Adelaide 2012-132. Superb performance from Port Adelaide once again. The pressure of playing in this huge game did not faze their players one bit, and they absolutely destroyed the Crows. It's 4 wins on the trot now for Port, and I think a lot of people now see them as possibly the favourite for the premiership. They're certainly playing like a premiership side. They are crushing every team that gets in their way with very few problems at all. The Adelaide Crows did challenge them slightly in that third term, reducing the margin to 15 points at one stage, I believe, but after that it was completely Port Adelaide. Kane Mitchell once again played a brilliant game, and he seriously must be in line for a call-up to the AFL side. His pace is absolutely electric, and if you leave him free for 1 second, he will burn his opponent and hurt the opposition on the scoreboard. Massive game for Port next week, hosting Sturt at Alperton. That should be an absolute ripper. Just quickly on the Adelaide Crows, another game, another poor result. I mean, how many more of these can the Crows have? They're 1-4 now, and if they seriously do not start picking up wins soon, they can kiss this season goodbye. They must win next week, Adelaide, or that could be it. Okay, the final game of the round saw South Adelaide host the Eagles. The final score, South Adelaide 11-9-75, defeated by the Eagles 13-7-85. Great win for the Eagles this one. It puts the club to 4-1 on the table now and really propels them up there with the front runners. The Eagles are probably the one side in the competition that is just going about their business under the radar a little bit, I'd say. They're a very, very good, well-disciplined football side who just seem to know how to get the job done. They can adjust and play all kinds of footy, and I think that shows the hallmarks of a terrific side. South Adelaide would be shattered to lose their first game of the season. They played absolutely brilliantly throughout that first half, and it really looked like they'd push on and record a big victory. But for whatever reasons, the third term saw a massive collapse from South, and with it went the lead. The players would be disappointed they let it slip, but they can make amends by rocking up next week and putting on a good show. I just want to talk about Eddie again quickly. I know he played on the losing side, but another bag of 5 goals for Eddie. He is an absolute freak of a player, and he will be pivotal for South if they are serious at giving the Premiership a real crack this season. Okay, let's now see what those results do to the table after round 5. And as we can see, 4 teams lead the race on 4 and 1. Port Adelaide sits on top of the tree, followed by Sturt, South Adelaide and the Eagles. 5th position is rounded out by North Adelaide. Let's have a look at the other end of the spectrum. Glenelg unfortunately heads back to the bottom after their defeat. Central Districts sit in 9th, while the Adelaide Crows unbelievably sit in 8th position. Who would have possibly pictured the Adelaide Crows sitting in 8th position after this many rounds of the season? Okay, as we approach the end of the episode, let's have a quick look at all the games for round 6 of the SANFL. Central Districts host North Adelaide in what is a must-win game for the Doggies. West Adelaide then plays host to Adelaide in what shapes as another real cracker. Very important for West Adelaide to continue their good form, while I'm sure Adelaide just needs to start playing better. South hosts Norwood, another massive defining game. Norwood will want to claim another scalp, I'm sure. Port Adelaide then takes on Sturt in probably the match of the round before the Eagles host Glenelg in the final game. Some absolute rippers this week. Should be a cracking weekend of footy. Well, unfortunately, that is all we've got time for on today's episode. We have thoroughly enjoyed having your company as usual, and we can't wait to see what round 6 of the SANFL will bring. From all the team down here at Oz Sports, it's goodbye. We'll catch you next week.